What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel where the subject of this video is the all-new 5th generation Honda Pilot. It took quite a while to get these things up here in Canada, but they finally managed to do it, and thanks to the fantastic folks over at Maple Honda. Also, if you would prefer to read a review rather than watch one, kindly click the second link in the description box below to visit my website to see reviews on this Pilot and many other vehicles. I was able to get myself behind the wheel, so if you could do me a favor and kindly check out their website and social media platforms down in the description box below. Now, back to the review. Also, if you would prefer to read a review rather than watch one, kindly click the second link in the description box below to visit my website to see reviews on this Pilot and many other vehicles. So, the new Pilot competes in the 3-row midsize SUV segment that has grown exponentially over the last few years, undoubtedly due to the increase in popularity surrounding these things. Competition, however, is fierce, and the new Pilot is up against some of the industry's best vehicles like the Toyota Highlander, the Nissan Pathfinder, the Subaru Ascent, the Kia Telluride, the Hyundai Palisade, the Ford Explorer, the Mazda CX-9, recently replaced by the Mazda CX-90, the Volkswagen Atlas, Chevrolet Traverse, and finally the Jeep Grand Cherokee L. I'm pretty sure that's all the competition in the segment. Next, let us talk about trim levels and pricing. In Canada, the new Pilot is available in 5 different trim levels. The Sport is the base trim. Next, we have the EXL, which basically adds leather and a few other amenities. Then we have the Trail Sport, which is the off-road rugged option. Then we have the Touring, and finally the Black Edition. Pricing is also listed on screen, which includes both freight and PDI, and please do keep in mind that the pricing for now is in Canadian dollars. Pricing wise, the Sport may be the cheapest model in the Pilot lineup, however it still comes feature packed with amenities like a push button start system, remote start, LED headlights and fog lights, and tail lights, a power tailgate, heated front seats, heated leather wheel, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration, tri-zone climate control, meaning both front and rear occupants have air vents, and a full suite of driver assist features, including blind spot monitoring and even white ambient lighting to make your experience at night that much better. The Pilot can also be fitted with a plethora of different accessories like roof attachments, towing hardware, and even the ability to personalize the exterior with things like darker badges, fender flares, side steps, and more. Across the border, we have 6 trim levels to choose from as opposed to 5. The base is known as the LX, then we have the Sport, the EXL, the Trail Sport, Touring, and finally the Touring Elite. The pricing shown excludes freight and is in USD. The LX, being the cheapest model, still comes with the following features like alloy wheels, LED headlights, front and rear climate vents, and USB ports, push start, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration, and a host of driver assist features. The accessories are more or less the same between both countries. However, you can add a heated steering wheel to the base LX and other accessories to bring it more in line with the higher trim levels. Exterior colors are limited to 4 for the Canadian market, but for the most part they are standard except for the Trail Sport, which lets you get a little more creative by throwing in sky blue and sonic gray. In the United States, you have more color options, adding Obsidian Blue Pearl and Sonic Gray Pearl, even on non-Trail Sport trim levels. Powertrain-wise, the Pilot comes standard with the tried-and-true 3.5-liter V6 engine producing a healthy 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with a conventional 10-speed automatic transmission, which sends power through Honda's intelligent variable torque management all-wheel drive system. And front-wheel drive can be had in the States only, meaning all-wheel drive is standard across all trim levels here in Canada. The new Pilot can also tow up to 5,000 pounds with the correct hardware if you opt for all-wheel drive. If you don't, you'll be limited to just 3,500 pounds. Fuel economy ratings for this engine are as follows. On the outside, the new Pilot ditches the rather pedestrian look of its predecessor in favor of a more substantial design, which improves both its stance and proportions. In the front, we get full LED headlights, fog lights, and an available opening at the bottom. Maybe for airflow purposes. The side profile is typical of a 3-row crossover. It showcases these two-tone 20-inch wheels wrapped around Bridgestone Elenza tires. The back of the Pilot is much rounder than before. However, if I did have a quibble, it would be the fact that I wish they had found a way to conceal the rear wiper behind the rear spoiler, but I guess that was impossible. On the inside, the Pilot is all new, and you would be hard-pressed to find many similarities between it and the previous generation. For one, the fit and finish are just sublime. Everything you focus your attention on looks and feels substantial, from the soft touch dashboard to even the smallest details like the weighted turn signal stalk. The front seats are comfortable and hold you in nicely. Furthermore, they are also heated and cooled and offer a range of adjustability and convenience features such as lumbar control and two-person memory settings. The new digital gauge cluster exudes sharp graphics and even portrays a mini pilot, for lack of a better term, that mimics your inputs. For instance, switching on your low beams will perform the same action on your gauge cluster, and also turn signals, hazards, etc. Pretty neat in my opinion. Furthermore, the gauge cluster can display information in various ways. It can reserve your entire screen for vehicle functions, display your speed digitally at the top only, or dedicate all your screen real estate to showing the tachometer and speedometer. The infotainment display, while new to the Pilot, is very familiar. The ubiquitous 9-inch unit already lives on the dash of the new Civic and CR-V. It's still a great system with a physical volume knob and shortcut keys, and is relatively snappy to your inputs. This one, being the Touring, also gets you wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Surround view camera is also new for this year, making parking this large vehicle incredibly easy. There are also two washer nozzles that reside beside the front and rear cameras in the event that they were to get dirty. Storage space is also plentiful, with a large center console and many cutouts and crevices to store a wide range of items. Although CarPlay and Android Auto are wireless, you still have two ports in the front, a USB Type-A and USB Type-C. As with all of Honda's latest products, the climate controls are physical and require minimal operation effort, and even the settings for rear occupants reside in the same cluster, making for a cohesive design all throughout. We have a panoramic sunroof up top, a first for the Honda Pilot. It operates just like any other moonroof, allowing you to retract a shade to let more light in, or close it all together to keep a more darkened interior. Overall, a straightforward and coherent design that boasts both form and function. This trim level of the Pilot also allows you to see 8 passengers, which can limit maneuverability, but thanks to Honda's genius approach, gaining access to and from the third row is as simple as clicking a button. Hit the switch and the second row will instantly slide forward, allowing you ample room for ingress and egress. Spending extended hours in the second row is far from a tedious task, offering plenty of head, shoulder, and legroom. The middle seat, when not in use, can either fold down, revealing a pair of cup holders, or be eradicated altogether, allowing for a less cumbersome look. We also have heated seats in the back and the ability to control our climate control on the fly, along with manual operated sunshades. While not the most spacious, the third row was enough to fit my 5'7" or about figure in with relative comfort. However, I could not see myself spending more than 1 hour in the back without having to get out and stretch my legs. Manufacturers have also realized that occupants sitting in the farthest row may want to benefit from something other than staring at the back of the second row seats, hence adding 2 USB ports and cup holders to keep their devices going. Thinking of hauling longer items? Well, Honda has you covered with ample space in the Pilot, which allows you to fold the entire second and third row, making for a completely flat load floor. In the back, the tailgate is power operated and can be opened in various ways, including hovering your foot under the rear bumper from the inside or from simply clicking a button on your key fob. Usually with the third row up, cargo space is compromised, but this Pilot offers a decent amount in clever underfloor storage, which lets you haul more and keeps your belongings out of view. Nothing groundbreaking here, but still a good thing to have. With all that information in mind, let's get the Pilot on the road and see how it drives. So here we are behind the wheel of the all-new 2023 Honda Pilot, and I've been wanting to pilot this vehicle for quite a while now, but obviously they're manufactured in the United States, so it takes a bit of a while for them to come to our shows here. But anyway, here we are driving it, or at the moment sitting stationary at a traffic light. But I mean, at first impressions, I am incredibly impressed. I mean, getting into this thing, looking at it from the outside, it's a whole different vehicle in my opinion. I didn't get a chance to actually drive the previous generation Pilot, but I've seen it plenty of times. I've sat inside it. I mean, sitting inside here, they basically overhauled every single thing, from the steering wheel to the interior to all these buttons over here to the controls. The exterior is much more Brawnier, whereas the old design kind of looked like a minivan from certain angles. This one certainly is mistaken for nothing else other than an SUV. Portions are great. It's longer than before. It's a bit wider. It's much more substantial in its stance. I mean, in my opinion, the last generation Pilot wasn't really a bad looking vehicle, but this one just takes it up to another notch in my opinion. Obviously, it is still carrying the same power plant, the 3.5-liter V6 engine, and I'm so glad they didn't go with the turbocharged setup, even though there's nothing inherently wrong with those engines, but I just love my naturally aspirated engines, and this one surely does not disappoint. It also is not mated to a CVT, but rather a 10-speed automatic transmission. But this 10-speed is incredibly refined, and just driving for a few minutes here now, I can instantly tell how refined, how benign it is, how eager it is to accelerate off the line. The only real drawback for this engine is, of course, apart from the fact that it will deliver slightly less fuel efficiency compared to those turbocharged engines, is that it does use a conventional timing belt. So 5 years or 100,000 kilometers down the line, you will need to change that timing belt, which does get quite costly. But other than that, these engines are stellar engines, and they can go for hundreds of thousands of kilometers with the right maintenance, of course. Man, I'm really impressed with this new Honda Pilot. I know Hondas have had a bit of issues kind of with sound deadening in the past. People have complained that their cabins can be a bit noisy and excessive wind noise coming through and road noise, but I'm pleased to say, cruising down this road 50 to 70 kilometers an hour on quite a bumpy road, mind you, so the sound deadening, they're really up their game on this new Honda Pilot. And visibility at the front is great as well. These A-pillars, they're not too thick despite the fact that they're housing all new Bose speakers. We also have a heads-up display out front which portrays a plethora of different information pertaining to the vehicle. Right now it's displaying a compass and our current speed, and the cool thing is it can actually detect road signs, and if you do go above the speed limit, it kind of flashes a reminder telling you to kind of slow down. 10 speed is a wonderful combination. I'll kind of give it a beans. This vehicle is fairly new, so it's still in the break-in period. I won't floor it all the way, but I'll give it some. The 10 speed is quick to shift down, smooth acceleration all the way through, and letting my foot off. No drama, just quiet, composed, and benign is the perfect way to describe the driving dynamics of the new Honda Pilot. Well guys, that wraps up my review on the all-new 5th generation Honda Pilot. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.